It's Friday, August 5th. Market is closed, so I thought I'd do a SPY recap to end the week and kind of show you what developed this week and what may lie ahead for the market and kind of what to look for. This is a daily chart. In a minute, I'll look at the 15-minute chart day by day this week and see what the opportunities were. I look at the weekly chart to kind of see what's developing on multiple time frames, and of course even the monthly chart. So let's start with the monthly chart because it's pretty clear what's going on in terms of the SPY. We ended August with a very nice green month here. So now we were anticipating the high of August taking out, and when that happens, you can see here these two targets are very close. So it looks like sometime in August, certainly expecting the market to head up, take out at least this high and probably this high, and then it's a question, you got to see what kind of bar develops by the end of August. It is possible we go green, 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 very big, but it's more likely just to kind of move up and probe these areas and then kind of see, do we close strong and look for continuation back up to the highs? Or is it something where we can take out these, we have 3.5 weeks to go here, maybe we take out these levels and then by the middle of the or end of the month we fail, and then we can be possibly by the end of the month looking to come down for a down month that could move back to the low. So a lot is going to depend what happens in August, but at least for now until things change, definitely with a bias to the upside. The way things will change is one, here, this blue line, the lower blue line is the open of the month. So as long as we stay above that open, we're heading higher. If we kind of come down here, it might be a little bit of a pause before we head up. And then I kind of highlighted the midway point of August. To me, since we barely took out the high already, which means we're projecting up here, even if we pull back a little bit below the open, as long as we hold the midpoint, I still have a bias to the upside as the month goes on. Only if we come down below the midpoint of that bar, which on the daily chart, if I look at it, that's all the way down here. So as long as we kind of hold in here on any pullback, I still think we're heading higher, and we'll just have to see what happens. If we have a pullback, like a 2-down weekly bar, let's say next week, and we come down and it's a big below the midpoint of the month, then all of a sudden we might be failing up here and making new lows into August. But I don't really expect that, but you just got to follow price action. So anyway, that's the bias up on the month. Now on the weekly chart, we had kind of a small week here in terms of follow through. So I still think we're heading up to these levels, one right here on the weekly chart as discussed. But with this small week, we have to see if we hold the midpoint of this week, kind of heading up next week. And it is possible we could pull back. You see what I could see developing here now that we have this little gap in here, this big green bar sets a gap between the high of this bar and the low of this bar. We might pull back early in the week into this little area before then reversing to the upside. Any pullback would get me excited to start looking for long trades again, because you'll build up some energy to start making, back to those monthly highs up here. But it is possible if we hold that we just start up next week. So we'll have to see what happens. Again, on the daily chart, what happened this week is we, after a big green up week, we kind of pause, try to go up. Wednesday, pause and kind of gap down, but then, the buyers are still stepping in here. So it's kind of a narrow week, but you can see with buying, with a bias to the upside. And if we look at all the days, just to show what happened on Monday, you had a nice green bar to start the day, and that gave you 2 pushes up in the morning, I could see here. So that was a potential trade. Gap down, well, let me zoom it in a little better just to see and kind of do it this way. Yeah, so on Monday you had the green open, and then you could have bought here, 1 push up, pause, 2nd push up on the day to new, daily high. So that was all, and then it kind of settled down. The next day, we kind of started lower. So we had a 2 down day. You can see here, we're starting 2 down. So let's say you wanted to go short, you would have been expecting price to take out the low of this bar here. It just missed. And what happened was so you could have, let's say on this red bar, then it failed. You could have tried a short thinking you're going to take out at least, where's that daily low right here. and then you could set up a no risk trade if it didn't follow through. But let's just say you didn't do it, didn't reach it, it immediately spiked up. You would have had to take the smallest loss in here, and then as soon as we made a new intraday high, that pushed up to the midpoint of the prior day, which kind of then set a target back up to those highs. So once you saw this move come up here, this little pullback was a good little short-term buy for the day, and you got to push up, and then we settle down. But then the next day, again, you can see here we above the midpoint of Tuesday and headed higher. So there was a nice opening trade to the upside, one pullback, and a second push up on the day. So that was a nice trading day to the long side on Wednesday. On Thursday, whoops, let me now zoom this in a little bit better. I just got stuck. Oh, there it is. Yeah, on Thursday here, you can see you're probably expecting price to head higher. It's ended up an inside day, and you didn't really, you opened up green, but then just paused here on bar 2 and 3 and went lower. So you never had really a chance. You could have bought, I guess, this green bar here after about 4 or 5 15-minute bars, expecting it maybe to follow through higher, and it just kind of grinded up for all day. So it was just an inside day. And then today was an interesting down day, but it happened on a big gap. So it's not like, you broke the low here and then we're heading down to that low. It just happened right at the open and immediately shot up. Now, when it shoots up like this, from a big gap down all the way up here, and it only gets to the midpoint of the prior day, there is a short-term scalp trade to kind of just sell this 15-minute reversal back down into the range. But the overall trend's up. So today was a big conflict day with a big gap down. You don't want to really buy this open. It was strong enough to, maybe jump in here if you wanted to for a pushback up there only at a minimum. See if maybe you get 2 pushes up. But it's a tough day when it gaps down big, after a big, in an overall big uptrend. So anyway, you really don't want to buy that. This sell is a counter trend, but it could have worked. And then we ended up kind of just closing near the highs of the day. So we end up with a green day. So you're kind of expecting follow. I could see follow through happening, Monday, getting to next week now. What do we look for? So you got the midpoint of Friday here, that you want to hold that. If we start up, definitely buy it. We could take out these weekly highs, but it is possible, again, at any moment here, since we've been up like 5 weeks in a row, for it to kind of fail somewhere in midweek. So I would kind of bias this to the upside. If we get some kind of opening like this on Monday, definitely buy it. See if maybe we get continuation green. But at any moment, you could expect some failures to take place. So let's say on Monday we go up and fail for the day, and then Tuesday, I would be looking to sell and maybe take out the midpoint of this week and then make a new low, like I said, into this gap area. And then I'd get excited to buy, either at the end of the week or maybe into next, the 2 weeks from now, back up again, because eventually I think we're heading higher as long as we hold these levels like I talked about. So that's kind of it for the SPY. We have a little exhaustion happening on the upside, but we did pause a little bit. So maybe we'll get a push up. And again, stick with it as long as it heads up. But on any failure, I could see playing a little short down back into this area. And then if that happens, get really excited to look for buy signals, towards the end of the month. And then the key will be, how does August close? Is it a green bar that just takes out these highs and then fails, which means we could be heading down for September, October, or can we strongly move up past this area? This will be the key area once we take it out to see if we can hold that and then maybe be heading to all-time highs. So that's kind of the SPY recap here for Friday, August 5th, and we'll see how it opens on Monday.